Welcome to another edition of the Burrow Podcast. I'm your host Josh, and I'm joined today by Mark Rayner. Mark, how was your weekend? I believe you were celebrating your mum's birthday on Saturday night.
Yeah, mate, we went into enemy territory, mate, to the Bulldogs League Club, and just had a bit of a dinner for mum. Tell you what, mate, she's not a bad joint in there. It's bloody massive. You almost need to get your Google Maps out to find out where you need to go in that joint. But yeah, it was pretty good, mate, and yeah, Mum was stoked to see everybody, so it was a good night.
Oh, that's awesome. Were you sneaking away quite often to go and have a check of the score of the game and that, or?
Mate, I had the phone on the table with the game going the entire dinner, mate. So Mum was sitting directly behind me, so she would break away from conversation and have a peep over and watch the game with me as well. So that was it was pretty good, mate. It worked out well.
Well, I guess you couldn't really be swearing at the referee or the opposition players like you would at the game in the middle of Canterbury Leagues.
Why not?
Well, I know there's been plenty of swearing.
No one was stopping a bald-headed man with the covered in tattoos made from doing anything that night, brother. So don't.
Well, I know when there's a game on there, usually fans watching the game there are the Bulldogs fans. There's been plenty of choice language there in the past.
Yes, absolutely, mate. Can attest.
Just quickly, give us. Michael and I spoke about the game on the podcast from the other day. Just give us a quick rundown on what your thoughts were of the game.
Sure, buddy. Mate, I thought the boys were outstanding, mate. I thought I'm going to give a massive rap to Big Kepster. I thought Sean was outstanding the other night, mate. I thought everybody in that 17 did their job and did it really, really well. Under the circumstances, mate, I thought, I couldn't fault them. The way they just worked for each other, the way they kept turning up, especially, mate, dead set, especially little Jai Gray, mate. He was just phenomenal, and mate, I'm so proud of him. He just punches above his weight continuously for this club, and I think he was definitely best on ground, in my opinion, for us, mate.
Yeah, that was. I said it the other day, between him and Tallis Duncan. I mean, Tallis did get the award, the Eric Sims medal, but it wouldn't have been lost if it had gone to Jai Gray.
Certainly not. Yeah, Tallis was phenomenal as well, mate, and got himself 2 meat pies, and they were really, really. I mean, that ball from the Wiz, mate, that was one of the best passes and one of the best lines, mate. It was beautiful. It was like watching vintage South all over again, mate. It was spectacular.
Well, that try that he did score, it's just reward for hard work he did just prior to that to win the ball back after a poor kick on the last, and that's the efforts
100%.
We've been seeing.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Couldn't agree more. Mate, it was just typified what the lads were about on Saturday night, mate, and couldn't be prouder.
We got another game, our second last game, our last home game of the season. We do have the bye the following week, but we do play the St George Illawarra Dragons this Thursday. Kick off at 10 to 8 at Accor Stadium. And the sides just dropped not long ago. Again, at fullback is Jai Gray, Alex Johnston, Tyrone Munro on the wings, Isaiah Tass, Tallis Duncan in the centres. Ashton Ward retains the starting 5'8" spot for now. Jamie Humphries partners him in the halves. Sean Kepi, and we get to see the return of Keon Clough-Matangi, back a little bit earlier than expected. Sliver Harvilli is the hooker. Jacob Host and Jai Arrow in the edge there, and Jai Arrow is the captain. Lock, we have Lockie Hubner. On the interchange bench, we've got Pete Mamazelis, Brandon Smith, Cody Walker, Thomas Fletcher. Shaq Mitchell makes the 18th man. On the extended bench is Fletcher Myers, Celestia Tata, Hazen Mellors, Lewis Dodd, and of course we're coached by Wayne Bennett. It's a bit of an interesting side, isn't it? Noticeable omission, again, no Latrell.
Yeah, mate, but you know what, I think, I don't know, I've got a really good feeling about this team now, mate. They seem to be gelling quite well together, and I like, obviously, Cody being on the bench there, mate, and can sort of come into the fray when all the sort of heat's out of the battle a little bit. I think Cody will be the difference this week on Thursday night, mate. So I think we'll get up over him.
Yeah, there's a few questionable selections there as at the moment. We know that just because he puts it out doesn't mean that's the side that will run out. But naming Sliver Harvilli as starting hooker and putting Pete to the bench, I thought Pete was very good. in that game against Parramatta. His second stint against the Titans was very good as well. He scored a really important try just before half-time. Caught the Eels' defence napping and read that really well. And I just find that his service is a lot better than Havili, and I think Sliver Havili would be better served coming off the bench playing as a middle forward.
I 100% agree with you, mate. And look, I don't know. I think that's the way Wayne will go. I think Pete will start. I think Havili's too an important cog, especially when you're looking at Pete, Brandon, Cody, and then one other edge forward on the bench. I think it's imperative that that Havili starts from the bench, mate, and can add a little bit of, give the big boppers a little bit of a break after that sort of first 20 minutes of anarchy on Thursday night, mate. So I do think Pete will start and Havili will move to the bench.
Well, Tallis Duncan finds himself starting centre again. He did a really good job filling in once Bailey Bentley-Harpe came off for HIA protocols, and he finds himself there again. And I would have loved to have seen Latrell back for this game to play. I'm not sure how bad the pinched nerve is. There's questions over how he did it, whether it was at the game, but he was seen playing golf afterwards, so who knows what the truth is there. It's a shame not seeing him there fighting with the rest of his teammates there this week to try and get another win before the season's out.
Yeah, well, I don't know, mate. Whatever it is, I'm sure that it's not that we get told any different, but it must be severe enough for him not to take the field, whatever. But he better get his ass to the Roosters game in the final round, mate. That's all I can say.
They said it's a pinched nerve in the back, so surely having the bye following and having that week's rest and that, he should be back for that one final hit out. There was talk Cam Murray could have played, and that Wayne did allude to say more than likely he'll play the last game if that's what he wants. I know one guy that's hoping that he does play that last game, and that's Kevin Walters.
Yes. Kevy said that he only needs to see 40 minutes of good footy from Cam, and he'll almost be a shoo-in for the Ashes squad, which is quite remarkable considering that Cam hasn't played all year. But when you're talking about the calibre of a player like Cameron Murray, mate, if he's fit and he's able to travel, you pick him in that Australian side, mate. He's too good of a footballer to leave out of the squad.
Well, selfishly, I'd rather him just concentrate on just having a good off-season with us and not travelling there. But, that's us for selfish reasons. These guys have a very short career, and you only get so many tours playing for Australia. You only get so many jerseys in your career, so you've got to take everyone that you can get, don't you?
Well, mate, especially, 100%, mate, and especially, like an Ashes tour over to England, mate. Like that's like the pinnacle of playing for Australia. You know what I mean? So look, I'm sure, mate, if he's ready to play, if he's ready for action, then mate, he'll go over there and he'll do himself and his family and the club proud, and like he always does whenever he dons whatever jersey he plays, mate. But I'm a little bit with you, mate. I'd rather him stay in Australia and have a big off season and get ready for 26.
Yeah, no, I think we all would love to see that. But the rest side, Ashton Ward's been named again starting. I think he's really, he puts his body on the line. That first try to Tyrone Munro, he worked well with Jai Gray to set that up. He's running to the line defensively. He gets his body in there. He's only tiny, and like Jai Gray, he gets his body in there. And we've seen him get beat once or twice, but with more and more experience, and that's what he's gaining, valuable experience right now. And we also got to see him play with Cody Walker when Cody came on, and it looked really good.
Yeah, mate, I'm really excited for this young man, mate. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, he gives me the early Luke Keary vibes. You know what I mean? So love him. I think he's a brilliant little bloke, and you're right. There isn't much of him, but by Christ, he certainly doesn't shy away from his responsibilities on the football field in defence. He has a red hot crack, and if he gets bowled over, he gets straight back up and has another crack. You know what it means? He's not afraid of the tough stuff.
Well, I'm just looking at the bench, and I think there's going to be changes. I really think that you start, Pete, you have Liver coming on the bench, and because you look at the bench, you've got Pete Mamazella, Brandon Smith, Cody Walker, and Tommy Fletcher. Tommy Fletcher's more of a edge player than he is a middle player. Brandon Smith can play middle. He can also fill in hooker. He can, I suppose, at a pinch, he could fill in an edge as well, but a ball-playing lock. Cody Walker, he's one of the halves. And Pete Mamazelis is obviously a hooker. So you'd really need to put Saliva Havili on the bench. So we've got a big guy on the bench coming on and keeping that momentum going.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It might be a case of when Keon might need a little bit of an early spell this weekend, mate, having not played for a couple of weeks, mate. So you push Jai Arrow up front, mate, bring Keon off, and then stick Havili in the back row there. You know what I mean? So, that's the kind of stuff that I'd be doing if I was Uncle Wayne. But look, I'm sure that's what's going to transpire anyway, mate. So you have those rotations, and then when Keon's ready to come on, then you rip Kepster off and so on and so forth, mate. You just rotate them back through. So I'm almost certain, mate, that's what's going to happen.
Well, we got a couple of guys on the bench, a couple of backs in Fletcher Myers and also Hazen Mellors on the bench. I know Hazen played a little bit of centre in the lower grades, but since he's moved up, he's just been playing on wing in New South Wales Cup. Fletcher Myers has played a bit of centre as well. So is there a world where we look at maybe possibly moving Tallis Duncan back to the edge, back to the back row partner Jacob Host, and move Jai Arrow to even possibly start it at lock? Because when Jai Arrow's been playing in the middle, he's been really good, hasn't
he? Yeah, 100%, mate. He busts his ass for us wherever he plays, mate. Like, he's just one of those blokes that just wants to win, and that shows in his football, whatever position that might be. Look, I don't think so. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wayne does something like that. But I think it's highly unlikely. I don't know if we'll see Hazen debut
No.
at all this year, mate. It's I'd love to see it. I certainly wouldn't poo-poo the idea, mate. But I just think that he'll stick solid with Tallis has done such a great job there, mate, for us in the past, and I think he'll do that again on Thursday night.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Hazen Millers won't be with us next year. I've heard rumours about him signing for another club, so which is a shame. You put this much development, and the last 2 weeks he scored 2 tries in the last 2 games. He's got a double in both of those games in reserve grade. I mean, we'll look at the Dragons and their side. You've got, I mean, they're hit by injury as well. They're struggling with a few injured players there, but you still got Gutho at fullback. You got Damien Cook at hooker, and they had what was it, 3 HIAs in the space of 5 minutes last week against the Warriors, and they pushed the Warriors all the way.
Yeah, mate. They're a dangerous and well coached footy side, the Dragons, mate. So it doesn't matter who they put out there on the park, mate. I'm sure they'll be wanting to win just as much as what we do, mate. So they'll be trying their guts out as well. But you're right there, mate. Gutho, Cookie. Is Moses Sully in the squad this week?
No, I'm sorry. Just look at the extended bench. He's not named there at all. So they got Hayden Buchanan, and Matt Fenoy in the centres.
Okay, Fenoy always seems to have a pretty good game against us. Anyway, when he's seems to miraculously always get picked when they play south. So he seems to have a pretty good track record against us. So he's going to be dangerous as well, mate. And I haven't had a chance to look at their full squad, but they've got blokes like DeBellin and
DeBellin's out.
He's out as well. Yes. Well, that makes. I think that makes.
He was he one of the guys last week that he went off HIA last week. He was one of the guys that.
Oh, that's right. He had that double. Yeah, was that the double head whacker?
Yes, that was it. And then Hame Sele, he didn't look too good not long after that. So they lost three guys in the space of a couple of minutes to HIA.
Okay, well I think that probably evens things up a little bit. Really, you know what I mean. So I did not know that, mate. So I liked my chances before I heard those news, so I really like the chances now.
Yeah, well, there's a guy playing on the wing for the Dragons who played for us, and I believe he's marking Alex Johnston, but it'd be good if he actually, like he did, if you remember that game against the Roosters where we won 60-8, where he handed AJ the ball. So maybe a few more of those for AJ.
It'd be nice, Mr. Corey Allen, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, I mean, look, I like Causa. I thought he was he's a pretty handy sort of a footballer, mate. And but I think AJ will have his measure.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a wet track. It's been raining on and off here where I am, and I'm not too far from Accor Stadium. Here I'm only about a 15-minute drive from there. And it's been raining on and off today. They're expecting more rain tomorrow, more rain on Thursday. So it'll be a heavy track. And I don't know, who do you think that helps more?
I don't really know, mate. Like I think it might temper the a little bit of the attacking footy and that sort of stuff a little bit from both sides, really. It'll sort of become that tuck the ball under the arm and grind sort of game. So I don't know, mate. Maybe with the addition of Keon and having there up front for us, mate, it might sort of give us a little bit of an advantage in that retrospect.
Well, pardon me. So we seen last week when Cody came on that Jamie Humphries shift to lock and played a really good role there in the ball playing lock until he did come off with a little niggle. Wayne did say that after the game that he should be right this week, but there could be every chance that he's ruled out. But Did you like seeing that role that he played when Cody Walker came on and leaving Ashton Ward in the halves with Cody?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think Jamie is primed for. I mean, he's big enough. He's a big lad. So playing in that ball playing lock forward role probably suits his style of play. Really, I think he really come into his own when Wiz came on and relished in that sort of opportunity. So I can definitely see a future where he might play a little bit more in that position as well. Even when Skip comes back, mate, it might be a case of putting Humphries back to the bench, maybe Ward and Cody start in the halves, and yeah, we do something like that. So nothing would surprise me, mate.
Well, we got another guy returning through New South Wales Cup, and that's Michaela Ravalawa. It's kind of too little too late for him. Would have been good to see him get a few more games with us, with big body coming out of our own. It would have been great to see. And we've also got a guy who's making a return from injury, making his Jersey Flegg debut in Yasin Kusku. I don't know if you watched the early Flegg games. He was killing it, and unfortunately injury hit him hard. He did come back, I think, in the finals, but they kind of rushed him back a bit too early. But here he is getting a chance in Jersey Flegg to get some experience for next year.
South rushing a player back too early from injury. Come on now. We don't do stuff like that. That's unheard of, mate. Mate, you know what? He is a good young prospect, mate, and yeah, you're right, mate. He was on fire before the injuries set in. So good luck to the lad, mate. I hope he rips in this weekend and has a big one.
Yeah, well, move to our weekly segment with Cody. It's Cody's weekly stats. Hit it, Cody.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cody's weekly stats. This week in round 25, we take on the St George Illawarra Dragons, kicking off 7:50 p.m. at Accor Stadium this Thursday night. The Rabbitohs are aiming to win 3 in a row for the first time since 2024. This will be Wayne Bennett's 100th game as a coach for the Rabbitohs. This week is also Tallis Duncan's 50th NRL game as well. There have been 42 games between the Rabbitohs and the Dragons. Rabbitohs winning 22, Dragons winning 20. The Rabbitohs have won 10 of the last 13 games against the Dragons. In our last 10 games, we have scored 253 points, which we have scored an average of 25 points per game. We have also conceded 216 points in the last 10 games against the Dragons, which is 22 points per game we've conceded. The last 3 out of 4 games against the Dragons have been decided by 12 points or less. The Dragons have not beaten us at home since 2013, and that streak is currently 9 in a row. The Dragons have also lost 7 in a row at Accor Stadium against the Rabbitohs, which is back to 2013 as well. There have been 14 games at Accor Stadium between the Rabbitohs and Dragons. Dragons winning 5, Rabbitohs winning 9. Alex Johnston has scored 95 tries in 97 games at Accor Stadium. Alex Johnston has also scored 9 tries in 14 games against the Dragons. Ladies and gentlemen, go to Rabbitohs.
Thank you, Cody. We've been a lot of talk around AJ and this record. It's not looking likely to happen this year now. I mean, if he had scored at least one try the other night, we still may have been a little bit of hope. Having Latrell out does hurt. Cody could make it possible. He could get a couple of tries this week. If he does, it's back on the table. But the club released a statement. I'll read it out now, and then I'll get your thoughts on it. AJ213. As Alex Johnston approaches NRL history, excitement is building across our passionate members and supporters. When AJ breaks the record, we ask that fans celebrate from the stands. Entering the playing field carries significant penalties, including fines up to 5,500 stadium bans. We will ensure members and supporters have the opportunity to celebrate with Alex Johnston at our next home game. Let's make history together. Glory, glory. Look, first of all, let me say I understand them telling about people not going on the field. That's for the safety of everyone, the members, the fans, and also the players and officials. I understand that. But whether the fans will listen to it or not is another thing. My issue is, why aren't we celebrating it there and then at that game?
You're 100% right, mate. It's a ridiculous decision from the club, in my honest opinion. Did anyone die when Buddy Franklin kicked that beautiful goal, mate, to rack up 1,000 goals? Like, dead set. Mate, we're just living in a friggin' nana state, mate, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. I don't agree with it whatsoever. They need to pull their heads in, mate, the hierarchy at this club, because dead set, they're making some ridiculous decisions. I understand, I get it, right? But bloody hell, mate. Like, honestly, we need to celebrate that milestone when it happens, as it happens.
Look,
that might not be seen again for in our lifetime, mate. You know what I mean?
This record stood for 60 years.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Look,
Lake Salt, just dead set. Like, honestly, you know, I think just let it happen, mate. You know what? If people run and jump onto the field and that, they shouldn't be fined. I think it's you know, political correctness going way too far. But anyway,
I just wonder if this is a club's case of just trying to protect themselves if something does go wrong. They're not going to stop if a whole heap of people run on. My issue is more that, why are we waiting till the next home game to celebrate it? The NRL have got to get on the front foot and saying, we will celebrate after the game. Have a big presentation with fans on the field. I've said it before, and this is where I think it should happen. By their logic, doing it the next home game, if he gets it this week or next week, if he scores 4 tries over this week or 4 tries over the next 2 games, we won't be able to celebrate until next year. And as you've seen, over the last few years, we don't get a home game until at least round 3 or round 4. So we've got to wait until late March to celebrate it. The moment's gone.
Look, mate, at the end of the day, the likelihood of him scoring, 4 tries against the Dragons is it's probably not going to occur. And you know, you can bet your ass that Allianz would certainly not allow anybody to enter that pitch to celebrate with him. That's for damn sure, mate. I just think that it should have been left open for us to be able to do that. I mean, not that I would. I mean, I'm quite happy to stand in the stands and applaud him, mate, for it. That certainly won't be an issue. Well, I won't be entering the field of play regardless of whether he breaks it this year or next year, mate, whatever. But, you know, for the kids and all that sort of stuff to run up and celebrate with their hero, you know what I mean? I think that'd be fantastic. And further to your point too, mate, you're right. We won't be able to celebrate it until March next year when it's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Anyway, piss poor.
Look, it more than likely won't happen this year. It could. We've still got 2 games left, and we've seen him score. He's got equal the most amount of hat-tricks in his career. I believe he scored multiple tries. I think he's, if not equal the record, he's close to it, of scoring multiple tries. So it's not out of the realms when it comes to Alex Johnston. I think it's going to be harder against the Roosters, but he does score tries against the Roosters, and if Latrell plays, who knows what happens. If he can jag 1 or 2 against the Dragons this week and gets another 2 against the Roosters, there we are. And we're kind of... I honestly feel that people will run on the field. I think once one does it, I've said it before, once one does it, someone else will follow, and then it'll be a flow-on effect. Whether I run on the field in the moment, I probably won't. I'm like you, I probably won't. But I'd love to be on the field at the end of the game with a presentation there.
Yep.
Like to get a photo on the exact point that he scored that try, where he made history. That's the sort of things that the fans need to be part of. Being possibly happening in an away game is probably more up to the NRL to do that, but you've got to do it in that moment because that's when it's at its best. That's when it's at its peak. You do it. I'm fine with it happening at the end of the game, but leaving it till the following home game. AJ himself has said he wants the fans to come on the field with him and celebrate the moment it happens. I got called a liar from some idiot out there having a bit of a run-in with me on Facebook saying that I was lying about that, but he has said it, and when what the man wants, fans will give him.
100%, mate, and so it should be. Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, mate, it's all hearsay at the moment, mate. I think if he miraculously, I'd love to see him bag 4 on Thursday night. That'd be fantastic. It'd mean that we're well on the way to victory as well. So that would be. I mean, anytime Cody Walker's on the field, mate, you know how much he loves that side of the field, man. So anything's possible when the Wiz is out there. But yeah, anyway, my opinion, right? To anybody watching this, any young kids that are watching this, if Alex Johnston breaks the record on Thursday night, you have my permission to run out onto the football field. Okay? Don't listen to Blake Solly, mate. All right? Okay. Don't listen to that. Listen to Rayner. Okay. You have my permission.
I'm staying out of this one here. I'm not saying a word.
And you have AJ's permission. Okay.
Hey, so, a kid runs on the field, gets caught, and goes, Mark Rayner said it's okay. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
ludicrous,
at home, listen to what your parents tell you.
Yeah,
listen to this guy.
Fair enough. But if 5,000 people run out onto the field, mate, are they going to be able to catch all 5,000 and fine them?
No, they won't. They'll just let it happen. I can just imagine some kid now going on there. So we're coming to the end of the season, and we're still a very slight chance of getting a spoon. A lot has to happen, but just having a look at the spoon watch, we've got a bye coming up, so the Titans would need to win all 3 games. They've got 2 home games against the Warriors, so they play the Warriors home, then they've got the Dolphins away, then they've got the Tigers at home. That's not too far out of the realms of possibilities. The Warriors are walking a tightrope to keep in the top 4, but the Titans beat them over there just a few weeks ago. So and then you've got the Knights, they've got the Broncos at home, Sharks away, Eels away, and they have to win 2 of their last 3. That's with us not winning one of our last 2 games as well. So we have to lose both our games for that to happen. The points differential is the Titans on -187 and the Knights are on -186. So it could possibly come down to points differential there. I think we're safe. Now. I don't see a world where the form that the Knights are in, they're going to win 2 of their last 3. I think the Titans could possibly win 2 out of the 3, but not 3 out of their 3. So who do you see getting the spoon?
Titans. Both of them are going to get beat this weekend anyway, so it's not going to matter. But yeah, I can't see the Titans winning another game. I think all 3 of their opposition will knock them off over the next 3 weeks, mate. So it'll be them.
I actually think the Titans got 1 more win left in them. I know they were a bit ordinary against the Sharks last week. I do believe they got 1 more win in them. I don't think the Knights do, and I think the Knights will end up getting the spoon. It'll possibly come down to points differential. So the trick for the Titans is to not get smashed in any of the games that they do lose, because I see the Broncos putting a score on the Knights this week. Then they got the Sharks away, and we've seen what the Sharks did to the Titans. I like to call them flat track bullies. And then the Eels. I mean, I know the Eels are a bit ordinary against us the other night, but they've been playing some good football as well.
Yeah, look, they definitely have, mate. But I don't know. I can't see a world where. I mean, you have a look at the Tigers, mate. They're starting to play some good football now towards the back end of this year too, and they're dangerous. I just think, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I struggle. The Warriors are in desperation mode now, mate. Like they they almost have to keep winning, mate, to try and keep hold of a top 4 spot. And I just think they've got too much on the line. Who did the Titans play? You just say they played after the Warriors?
The Dolphins away, and I don't know if they've got any players returning, and then they play the Tigers at home.
Yeah, mate. Look, both the Warriors and the Dolphins are in desperation mode. And the Tigers, mate. You know what, mate? Depending on results, they could still be. They could, even though it's probably a little bit unrealistic, mate. I'll say that they can, depending on results, they could still push for a top 8 spot. So they're going to be incredibly keen as well.
The most points they can get on is 30 points. The Roosters are on 28 points. They got the Eels away, they got the Storm away, and then they got us at home in the last 3 games. You think they've got one win in those 3? The way they're playing, the way the Roosters are playing, and once that happens, if the Roosters win this week, and because of the points differential, I think I don't know what points. I haven't got written down what points differential the Tigers are on, but I think they're about minus 50, whereas the Roosters are positive 92.
Okay, so probably a stretch for the Tigers.
But you said something about desperation about the Warriors. They'll make the top 8. They're on 32 points. And the Dolphins have to win all 3 games. They have to lose all 3 for that to happen.
I'm thinking more along the lines of top 4 for the.
Yeah, I know that, but yeah, the point that I'm trying to make. Last week they were very lucky against the Dragons. The Dragons losing 3 players to HIA in the space of 5 minutes. They had forwards having to play longer minutes than they should have. So, and they only just got over them. And I don't think that they're. Yeah, I kind of question, but the other one is. Let's talk about the top 4. 2 teams are definite top 4. You've got Raiders and Melbourne will be top 4. They're too far in front. But could the Bulldogs possibly slide out? I think they've got another win in them, which will guarantee them a top 4 finish. They've got the Storm away, Panthers home, and Sharks home. They're 3 tough games. And they haven't done well against top 8 sides this year. Could you see someone like... Because the Panthers would have to win all 3 games to jump them. The Broncos would have to win all 3, or the Sharks would have to win two games because they got the bye this week. They'd have to do that. So there is a world that could see the Bulldogs drop out of the top 4.
100%, mate. I was only chatting to Loz about that earlier today, that there's absolutely a world where they could drop out of the top 4. As unlikely you would think that it would be that they couldn't find one win in amongst the rest of those games. Mate, it's absolutely a possibility. And mate, when Canterbury loses, Australia wins, mate. So I definitely like to. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that. Anyway, but look, at the end of the day, mate, there's some really good football coming up over the next couple of weeks, mate, with a lot of important cogs sort of yet to fall into place in terms of that bottom 6 of the 8. But I dare say, mate, that in my opinion, mate, I think Canberra and the Storm have pretty much done enough to wrap up those top 2 spots. It's just sort of where they finish in there.
Yeah, well, we can talk about the Bulldogs. They come up to the Storm down in Melbourne this week, and they could possibly win that. They could bounce back after that poor display against the Roosters last week and win that. And all of a sudden, we're talking differently about the Bulldogs again. That's how quickly things can turn. Teams that you're right of, look at how quickly the Panthers turned it around. They had 9 wins in a row, and then they lose a Golden Point game, admittedly to a depleted Storm side. A lot of the sides that they played in there, I think apart from the Bulldogs, there may have been another team in there. They were all teams outside the 8 in that run, but they're there. They could push. They got the Raiders this week at home. That's out at Mudgee, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a Friday night. Friday night's games are going to be good, aren't they? You've got the Panthers versus Raiders, and then the Storm versus the Bulldogs.
Outstanding football on Friday night, mate. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, with the Warriors just 1 point ahead of them, I think that the Panthers will need to win at least 2, possibly their 3 games to make the top 4, because they've got the Raiders home, which is at Mudgee, as I said, the Bulldogs away, and then the Dragons away. And the Dragons have shown they can get some big scalps, even though they've been out of finals contention.
Yeah, mate. Look, it's going to be one of those ones, mate, that comes down to the last round. And the only thing I care about in the last round is us, doing a number on our fierce rivals. And it would be extra special, mate, if it was a case of that they needed to beat us to make the finals, and of course, they lose. So
well, let's look at that. Let's look at that scenario there. The Dolphins and the Roosters, they're going to be. It's only going to be out of them two for that final spot. I think 7 of the 8 are done. I've put a line through Manly. They're done for this year. The Tigers, as I pointed out with the Tigers, but
Manly put a line through themselves.
Oh yeah. As soon as Daly Cherry Evans made that decision, that was it. But the Broncos beating the Dolphins when they had a good lead on the Broncos got run down. That would have been an important win for them, beating the Broncos, because that would have put them equal with the Roosters, but inside the 8 on a superior points differential. The Dolphins have a points differential of 109. The Roosters have plus 92. That loss to the Roosters really brought their points differential back. It really hurt them. But they've got Manly away this week. They got the Titans at home, then they got the Raiders at home. So depending, the Raiders could possibly be resting players for that final round.
Yeah, they could. Absolutely.
We've seen teams do that once they've guaranteed a home semi-final, whether they're first or second. We've seen them do that. We did it against the Dragons, if you remember, in 2021. We rested about 10 or 11 players, and we still beat the Dragons in that final round. But we'll guarantee third position. We weren't going to be any different, so that helped us. So, as I said, they got Manly away, which they should do. They should beat Manly, but Manly sometimes decide to turn up. Titans at home, which I think is going to be tougher than people think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then the Raiders,
mate.
So they'll need to win all 3.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, mate. But I mean, it all probably comes down to who Ricky decides to give a rest, mate. You could probably see a world where he doesn't play Tarpany or Papali'i in that game. And he might even put young Strange on ice for that game as well. So possibly somebody like Tim McCaw as well out there. So I mean, mate, it's 100%, mate.
It also depends on the minor premiership as well. How important is it to them? Is that the main goal? And we've seen teams, even when the minor premiership's on the line, they go, no, we're right, we'll rest players. We've got our eyes on the bigger prize. So, but the Roosters, they got the Eels away, Storm away, and they've got us playing at Allianz. So I think the tough one's going to be the Storm. They lost to them a few weeks ago, and the Storm were depleted. They lost to them a few weeks ago up at Allianz when they were depleted. So you think they're going to win 2 out of their 3?
I can 100% see a world, mate, where they need to beat us to make the final. My Lord, that would be something else, mate. So look, I think we'll just let the cards fall as they may, mate, and we'll just wait for that last Friday night game for us against them and see what happens.
There are a few scenarios. I still think the Roosters get ahead of the Dolphins. I think injuries have hurt the Dolphins at the wrong time of the year. Losing the players that they have, they were going really well. They were going really well there for a while and looked like they were going to get a finals berth. Unfortunately, we've seen it with us as well. Injuries do, and you can play a couple of weeks with a weakened side, but then it just starts becoming too much for those players that aren't used to the week in, week out grinds of NRL footy.
100%, mate, and you know what it means, naught if the Dolphins go out this weekend and get beat by Manly, mate. So, they just have to win. That's the only thing that they need to focus on is just win, and then whatever will be. At the end of the day, too, mate. We've said it before as well. When you start relying on results, to go your way on, do you even really deserve to be there kind of thing. So, tough couple of weeks for everybody, mate, that's up on that, in that sort of bottom part and indeed in the third and fourth sort of positions, mate, because there's a lot of juggling that can happen between now and then. Yeah,
well, I hate to say this, but the Roosters are looking really good at the moment.
They are, mate. 100% they are, mate. I think that they are extremely dangerous, mate. And if they do happen to sneak into the 8, mate, they are going to cause some headaches when they get in there. They're looking. Sam Walker's playing some great football. Tupou, look, he dead set hasn't aged in 10 years, that bloke, mate. He's just a phenomenal winger. You know, mate, I've really been impressed with young White as well. Like, I think he's just taken his game to another level. You've got no. I want to be careful how I say. That's him. That's the fella with the fuzzy hair. He's in my opinion, right? He's better than Suoli'i. As a rugby league player, and I know that probably a lot of people that would disagree with me heavily on that, but mate, I'm going to stand my ground on that one. He is just, he's phenomenal. But I heard a little bit of a whisper, mate, that he won't be sticking around for too much longer because the Rugby World Cup will be a big draw card for him, mate. So I think he might depart to go play for Australia.
Look, I think this is a Rabbitohs podcast. We're meant to be hating on the Roosters, not praising them. Wait, won't give them too big of a rap.
You got to give credit where credit's due, mate, and they are in some good rich vein of form, mate. And hey, I still hate you. So
well, what's that song? You say it best when you say nothing at all.
I told my wife that one day, and that didn't end very well.
That's about us. We're better off stop saying anything at all. You do realise that?
She just looked at me with that, what did you say, eyes, and Anyway,
you do realise that those eyes are, hey, this is locked into the memory bank. This is not going away. I'll remember this.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure it was put into the bank with hundreds. That was with the many hundreds of other things, mate. Don't worry about that.
Well, we go back to playing the Dragons this week. Memorable games. We do this every week. We talk about some memorable games. What are some of your memorable games playing the Dragons?
Oh, mate, I remember there was a wonderful game a few years ago, mate, where we were behind by 2, and up steps the great Greg Inglis for a field goal. Now,
2015 mate, was it? Or 16, one of those years.
Yeah, one of those years. Now, mate, look, maths has never really been a strong point of mine, and I'll put my hand up and absolutely say that, but yeah, on that occasion, I was pretty confused as to why you'd be taking the 1 point when you're behind by 2. You might have been channeling the great Terry Lamb, I'm not sure, but that was that was a game where you sort of look at that and go, and you scratch your head a bit and go, did I just see?
It may have been sooner. I'm trying to find which game that was because I remember it really well. I think I forget the year it was, but I remember it was.
Yeah, it was 15,
a wet day
15,
at the SCG.
16, one of them. Mate, it might have even been. I don't know. Might have even been. I can't remember. 17. I don't know. One of those.
No, they're up by 2. They're up by 2, and look, Greg Inglis was ahead of his time because now we're seeing 2-point field goals.
Yes.
But hey, at least he wasn't like Terry Lamb and he actually nailed it and celebrated the win. If you remember, Terry Lamb did that against Newcastle at Belmore one year.
Yep. But we've had a couple of crackers against this mob, mate, over the years. The Dapto mob always give us a good run for our money, mate. So I don't know if I can. I really love the one where God damn it! I wish I didn't have onset of dementia. But it was the one where Reynolds kicked. I think it was 3 field goals in the one
semi-final. Semi-final 2018. He scored all our 13 points that day. Yeah. If you remember, was that the one where we were down by 1 and Cam Murray did a one-on-one strip and got the ball back for us, which got us in position to tie the game with a field goal.
Yep.
And then if you remember, it was a really bad Ben Hunt, really terrible last tackle play where he decided to run it.
That's right.
They turned the ball over right on halfway.
Yes.
The third kick wasn't easy from Reynolds because he had to dodge the traffic and he still nailed it. You've never seen a guy kick 3 field goals because when he kicked the first field goal, the Dragons had a penalty. They had a penalty and got 2 in front. I think it was for Cody Walker holding down. So they got up by 1 and then it was a weird game and the Dragons were celebrating.
It was bizarre.
But 3 field goals. Do you remember the one where Campbell Graham scored? He scored in the last play of the game.
Yes.
In the corner, to win the game.
Was that the one where Braden Burns threw him the pass?
Yes, 2019, I think. We ended up winning 20-16. We were down by 2. The penalty that it was weird because there was a penalty that the Dragons got, and had there been a captain's challenge back then, we would have taken it, and it wouldn't have been a penalty. It would have been a knock on, because I remember watching the replay of that time and time again, because I was adamant that Ben Hunt didn't get his foot to the ball. It dropped on the ground and then he kicked it after the fact. And they ruled that it come off our player, because once it ricocheted off our player, other player dived on it and was in an offside position, which gave them the penalty. But it was a knock on, and of course no captain's challenges back then. But Campbell Graham scoring in the corner to win the game. That was a great one. And do you remember the game in, I think it was 2011? We just come off a smashing from the Panthers, and that kind of ruled our fate. We couldn't play finals footy. They were up 40-0 at halftime or something ridiculous like that. And next week we come against the Dragons, who were coming first at the time, and we were expected to get smashed. We had a few players out. We were down 20-0 just before halftime. We were down 20-0. This down at Wynn Stadium, down 20-0, and all of a sudden Reece West had just scored a try before halftime. We're like, okay, at least we scored a try, and we were just surrounded by Dragons fans everywhere. They were giving us shit, and all of a sudden the comeback came. I think Pete scored, and Farrell scored. Farrell scored a few. Then we hit the front for the third Dylan Farrell try. We hit the lead. No. We hit the lead through a Pete's try, I believe. I'm not sure. I think Pete's may have scored 2. I'm not sure. But we hit the lead. Then they finally scored to hit the lead back. And the Dragons fans were just giving it to us. Then, if you remember, from the kickoff, Chrissy Sando kicked the ball and it found touch. And we got the ball back attacking the line. Dylan Farrell scores the match winner. And we were just giving it back to them. There was only a few of us on there. We were just giving it to a few of them. I remember, because when the Dragons hit the lead, the way they were giving it to us, I had to hold Chris Dooner's back. I had to pick him up and hold him back, and that's quite hard to do because he was ready to go and punch on. I'm like, mate, we're outnumbered. But we gave it to him. Then, and we actually scored another try after that through Nathan Merritt, if you remember. John Sutton ran to the line in, and that iced the game to get us that 10-point victory. And I just remember the feeling going home. Those wins where you just don't expect to win at all, you're like thinking, you're going there with the mindset, this is going to be a smashing. 20-0 down, you're just like, just get me out of here. I just want to go out of here. To then be, we went back to the Harp Hotel, we're celebrating there, the drive home, just celebrating the win. Those are the great feelings.
Yeah, mate, they're great. They're great feelings and great wins, mate. Especially when you're not expected to win and you somehow find a way, especially under those circumstances, mate. Outstanding. No, I also always used to love the battle between, and mate, I'm going back a few years here, mate, so there'd only be a select few of us that would remember these. Certainly none of the kids that are watching this podcast, but the battles between Graham Lyons and Ricky Walford, mate, back in the day as well, you know what I mean? Like, 2 absolute of the fastest men that I've ever seen in rugby league, mate, just going try for try on each other as well, and some of those wonderful forwards battles that we used to have against the Dragons too, mate. And they were great days, mate, back in those.
Yeah, well, you're right about the kids not remembering, because they wouldn't remember that was a totally different side in the St George Dragons back then.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah.
Do you remember the game at the SCG, 1999? The first time we ever played the merged side. We ended up winning 25-24 off a tricky Trindle field goal, but the Dragons scored late to kind of bring it back within 1 point, but that was great. Some of the players, if you remember, tricky Trindle carved up, as did Craig Wing. Do you remember that try with he was running wide, Craig Wing, flicked it to Lee Hookey on the wing, and Lee Hookey just did this flick pass where he just ran around him on the outside, right near the sideline, and touched out wide. Craig Wing scored. And then Chris Caruana, remember, he was just running across the field, straight across the field. Nothing was happening, and then he just straightened up straight through the pack.
Geez, wasn't smoke. He was a good player, mate. Like he was really. And it's sort of good to see that he's he fell on hard times there for a little while a couple of years, old smoke. But I think he's found his feet again, mate. So good on him. blokes like that. I love blokes like that, mate. They've got stories behind them, and any time, mate. I'd love for Smoke to come on the podcast as well, mate, because I really used to love Chrissy Caruana, and
Yeah.
If he ever comes across this podcast, mate, Chrissy, I hope you're going well, mate, because
we all do.
You deserve to have a great life, pal. So good on you. But yeah, mate, that side there in '99, mate, I'm still pissed off to this day that we didn't, mate. That still irks me, mate, because we were playing, mate. If I ever see Peter Shields again, mate, I might give him a clip on the chin myself, because I think that he
Did you ever see the tackle?
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Wasn't great.
But Tricky had to jump up because he's a tall bloke. But
I know he had to get on a stepladder to get him, because he's a big man, Shieldsy. But yeah, it wasn't great. But I mean, come on, mate. Like Dad said. Like,
well, the fact that it wasn't, no one even seen it. Someone identified it and handed it into the NRL to say do something about this, which just
I'm pretty sure it was Dennis Fitzgerald.
I've got a good story about Dennis Fitzgerald. I remember when we were kicked out of the comp, and there's a story that this is when the Wollongong Wolves were playing. I went down and watched a bit of Wollongong Wolves here and there when South were kicked out of the comp. It's actually funny because my mate, he ended up playing for Australia, Sasha Petrovsky. I went to school with Sasha.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so I was played some soccer with him during school time and things like that. So he was in my year at school. And so I went down and watched him, and then we played at Parramatta. Like always, I was random South guy before it was cool. So I used to always wear my South gear down there. And then I went to Parramatta wearing my South gear. And Dennis Fitzgerald was walking down out the back. He was coming down, and his mate said something to him. Look, there's a South supporter. He started laughing at me. And the very week before, I was privy to some information. He was up on the Gold Coast. He was bad-mouthing George Pickens. Little did he know that John Sattler was behind him. John Sattler had a few choice words with him and offered him to go outside. And yeah, let's just say that Dennis Fitzgerald, a coward.
Declined the offer.
When he was, so when he was laughing at me, I turned around and I said, "Oh, that wasn't the look on your face last week when Johnny Sattler asked you outside." His face just dropped. His mates were laughing at him. So
I tell you what, mate, she'd be a brave man to want to take that offer up with Johnny Sattler, mate. 100%.
Johnny Sattler, he was one of the most kindest people I knew. I met him a few times and just such a true gentleman. But he always had his mates' backs. Whether on the field, off the field, he's always had his mates' back. And that's what made him such a great person, amongst other things. So we do miss him.
Yeah, 100%, mate. The big man.
That about wraps it up for today. Any predictions this week?
Bunnies by 8.
That'll be good. We've had two close wins. Right at the end, we've been on the edge of our seats. I'd like to see a bit of a bigger win, just one where we can just enjoy, but I don't think that's going to happen. Look, I'll just be happy with another win. It'd be a good way, because as I said earlier in the last podcast, our wins this year have always come in doubles. We need to break that trend and make it 3 in a row. Our win this week will be good. That will guarantee that we avoid the spoon, although I don't think that's going to happen anyway. And then bring us up against the Roosters to possibly make it 4 in a row. Would be a great finish to the season.
It will be 4 in a row, mate. That will be.
I wish I had your confidence, but well, who knows? We get a few players back for that Roosters game. Who knows? But anyway, this is the last home game for the season. We're in our usual spot of 110 for the Roosters game. We're in Bay 25. We did put the banner out. Hopefully we'll be able to bring the banner in for the Roosters game again. They didn't show it on TV, which is a bit disappointing. I haven't seen any footage that South put up. We did put a post up on our Facebook page if you want to have a look at the banner that was done. I gave a shout out to Joe and the VL Sydney boys for all their efforts in that, but we're going to try and bring that in again. Hopefully we can and unveil that, and hopefully they will put it on this time. I think we underestimated how big the bay was. Probably should have gone a little bit bigger with it, but it did look good. So.
It did, mate. It did. It was a really a well thought after banner, mate, and it was really, really good. And I'm telling you now, like dead set, Souths are jumping up and down, bitching and moaning about wanting to go back to Allianz. Like, get one of your digital people to get a decent photo of that banner and promote it. Like, honestly, Like, what are you doing? Wake up to yourselves.
Yeah.
There's an important, you're jumping up and down about it. Well, there's a group of people that are basically with a massive goddamn banner saying this is our house, and they don't capitalise on that, mate. Sometimes I just shake my head at the stupidity of the joint. But anyway, now we've given them a little bit of pre-warning that that's what's going to be happening again. So hopefully they pull their finger out of their clacker and do something about it.
Yeah, well, hopefully. But anyway, we hope to see you guys out there celebrating. It's going to be wet. I'd love for it to be a dry day. I would have loved for it to be a case of this could possibly be the week that AJ breaks the record. That was your prediction anyway. It's looking less likely now, but you did get the Titans one right. But I'm glad you got the other prediction wrong, where you said, well, after the Titans game we would win another game. So they showed you, they gave you the figure. But mate, before we go, do you want to give Sean Kepi another rev up? Because I know he played well last week, but every time you give him a rev up, he has a good game. So you want to give him one more rev up?
Sean, you need to go for 150 metres this weekend, mate, or I'm going to dead set pop deep heat in your swimming truck, champion. Okay? And that won't be a good fooling, pal. So all the best to all the boys this week. I know that they'll do us proud anyway, mate, and hopefully they can bring the 2 points home for us.
Yeah, well, we are definitely very proud of the efforts, and especially the last couple of weeks with the amount of players that we've had out. That was basically our full-strength Parramatta side we played last week. There was probably, I think Sean Russell may have been the only one out. So it was a great effort with the amount of players that we had out, that you guys keep fighting. We in the Burrow will be there getting behind you guys. We hope more people can get out there. As I said, I know the weather, as I listen right now, the rain started again out here. But anyway, we do appreciate you guys watching.
I think footy training's going to be rained out for my boys in the lead up to their semi-final this weekend, mate. So I might actually be half a chance of getting out there. Normally training doesn't sort of finish at until about 8 o'clock for us at Brothers, mate. So but yeah, with the weather the way it is, I'm pretty sure it's going to be rained out, mate. So we'll go and find a nice dry patch of land out there somewhere, mate, and hopefully we can bump into you at the post-match function celebrating 2 points.
Yeah, that'd be great. As I was saying, we do appreciate you guys watching. There is a video of the fan reactions after the game. Quite a few, well, especially there was a few drunk people in there. I did have to cut it short with one guy who was saying a few choice words. I'm no prude, but there's some words that I won't have in there.
Shout out to that guy.
I think he'll be happy that I cut it out for him. But I love doing those interviews after the game and just getting people's genuine reaction after the game. I mean, I think a few people are still kind of hesitant, don't want to do it, but some people that I try and look for the guys that are holding a beer or have had a few to drink. They're the best ones. They're the best reactions to get out of it.
Mate, they are great because everything that comes out of their mouth, mate, is the absolute truth, mate. So that's pure gold.
I've had a lot of great feedback about that. But if you haven't watched them, we've got a few of them up, and you're getting to know our members. I'm going to have another one up next week during the bye round. I did that a few weeks ago, just before the Broncos game. So with Zane, he's been on the show before, but we do want to do a few more, especially in the off-season. I'm going to look to do a few more of those and get them out. But anyway, hope to see you guys out there on Thursday night. If you do see myself or Rayner out there, come up and say hello. We do appreciate meeting you guys. Leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm your host, Josh. I'm joined by Mark Rayner. Go the Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbitohs.
South Sydney!